So for like the turbos, we have right over our shoulder.
Oh yeah,
okay. So
that's
we have
rare.
right here. This is a 2013. They only made 15 2013 coupes in a manual. So they made 296 total for North America coupes. That's from 2010 to 2013.
Yep.
13 being the last year, 15 of them. That has 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I have that listed at $299. People are telling me I'm crazy. But then all of a sudden there's a 993 turbo that they made thousands of.
Right.
That with 5 times the mileage, maybe even more, that is asking 325 or whatever the number is, and they're like, oh, that 993 is so much better. I'm like, dude, you're never finding another one of those.
And you don't have to worry about, that's something you can hold.
Wait,
right?
and out of the 296, this car wasn't meant to be rare. It wasn't like, oh guys, it's a numbered speedster coming out, where rich collectors, wealthy collectors would buy one, stash it, one to drive. This wasn't like that. 296, they never announced, hey, we're only making this amount of manuals, or there's a limited production. This was a time when the new double clutch PDK was coming out, and that was the new hot ticket.
Right.
Same with the Ferrari 430s, the F1. Yeah, when you look at everybody, that's a 430 manual.
Yep.
It's like almost like as if I'm in the time back in 2010, 8, 9, 10, 11, and yelling at everybody, like guys, don't order the F1. Don't listen to your dealer. Don't care about the resale.
Yeah.
You guys just don't do it. Don't do it. But and they all did it.
Yeah.
There's like 250 or so plus or minus 430 manuals, 200 and change or so 997.2 turbo manuals.
Yep.
How many of those are left? That's the key.
Exactly.
How many have good Carfaxes? How many have decent low mileage collector grade? I would say 20%, if that.
Yeah,
so
not many.
The market of place that we even deal with being able to procure and get these rare, unique cars in, it's so limited as it is. It's not like, it's when people say, it's one of 296, it's rare. I said, no. It's probably one of like 50, because I know ones that have been totaled. I have a list of ones that have been shipped overseas. So these cars in the future, like people say like, it's such a hard terminology to say if a car is an investment or not. Doug DeMero hates saying the cars are not an investment, but it is and it isn't. I agree and I disagree, but like, how could you tell me like, buying a 996 turbo when it was $50,000, or a 993 turbo when it was $50,000 is not a good investment, because that car now, and everyone's like, you remember when? Like, we have these same repeating conversations, whether it's baseball cards or whatever, but like that same car that you could have bought for 50 grand 10 years ago is now $250, and also how many relationships have you met by going to these car culture events and networked with people that have like-minded business ideas that now has affected your future in a positive way? There's so many indirect factors that people don't take into account. Like, COVID took over, like everybody going to a Knicks game or a basketball or a baseball game, to now this car culture community being tremendous. You don't have to go wait online somewhere. You could put 3 people, your kids in a car. You can go, you can leave when you want. It's now... you go on a vacation for 20 grand to Italy. You only come home with your memories. You buy a car, you're going to sell it in 6 months. You'll get 90% back, or maybe 100%.
Yeah.
But the road along the way is just the memories that you make and the people you meet.
It's about the journey.
Oh my God. The cars have not made me successful.
Yeah.
The people that I've met along the way have made me, you have made me successful.
Not
I'm
me.
serious, but
Not me.
but all the people that are,
Right.
it's the people that have made me successful.
So that leads me to a question then. So I get the feeling at this point, you're an established business with a clear repertoire.
I think so. I
Do
try.
That's a
you-
great word, Ben.
Well, I'm listening. I'm in my bag right now. But do you think when you're looking for cars to, prime cars like this to get in front of people, is that a car that finds you? Or are you hunting for these cars? Are you on the list looking at owners? I mean, we had this, Sean went back and forth looking for a certain RS 4.0.
Which I found.
Which he found after like a week of research
Nice.
through
So
forums.
yeah,
that are
we
10 years
have
old.
our chairman, big Porsche collector, Carrera GT. He bought new. It was number 486. 918 is 486. So every serial limited production car we have is serial number 486. But he didn't buy at the time didn't buy a 4.0. So I found the VIN of number 486 through like a
Porsche
I think it was a
decoder or
forum
something.
from 2011 that a guy ordered
Probably
a specific,
Harrison when he was 9 years old.
yeah, ordered a specific number. The car that arrived was number 486. He wasn't happy about it, so I reached out to him. He sold it to someone in Texas, who sold it to someone in California. Now I'm trying to get in touch with the person in California.
We can help you find them. Honestly, we may even know the car collector or something. I don't know, but I understand the chase of it. I get it, right?
Yeah.
It could kind of be a little like ex-girlfriend clinging. Like you're like, "Hi, do you have this car? Do you still own it?"
We'll buy it. Anything you want.
Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
But back to your question, a lot of these cars these days find us. But the way it started was really just me and Louis ambulance chasing cars. Whether it was listed for sale and getting to them first, like a fast New Yorker, or I mean, me and Louis used to like jump in. We bought when we first started 2006 Maybach 57S, which I still have.
Is it the
Is
one
that
back
the one in
there?
the back?
Yes, I'll never sell.
I knew
I
that
remember
car
when
had a
those came
story,
out. I
dude.
was like,
I love that car.
We
Yeah.
pulled up and I'm
pull
like,
the
there's a
doors
reason
off.
that car
Yeah.
is
That
just
was the
here.
first thing I said when we pulled up. I said,
Well,
"Oh,
you
park
said
next to the Maybach."
no. Well, then you said, well, it's not a '67, but we'll park that anyway.
That car we bought for like 60 grand. It had like 15,000 miles. It was owned by like a Russian billionaire.
Yeah.
And we built the business in
set.
that car. Like we would go around, whatever. We would drive to Connecticut, Pennsylvania, you name it. If the car, we would just go. The amount of disgusting food. Let me just tell you something. People eat caviar off those tray tables. There was more sweet and sour sauce
Yeah.
and barbecue from McDonald's and Wendy's embedded in those tray tables still, that if you licked it from 2000 and like whatever year, it would still taste good.
Still soyed
It's
out.
still in there. But Louis was, my job was the person to build the inner workings of the business, to deal with selling the cars. And Louis was the one who would find all the cars. He looked, he searched, he hunted. And not only did he, like, we would start with certain cars that, like, you know, for example, the 0.2 turbos, I don't want to say we started the market for it because Porsche did, right? But, you know, my cousin Barrett was obsessed with that car and he's like, this is a sleeping giant. So then we went on down the rabbit hole of those, and like we would just chase and have to have every single one. Like we've sold over 200 of the 296, and the convertible version, they made 192. We've sold over like 125 or so. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but we've sold almost every good one.
So most of them been through here. That's pretty wild.
Without a doubt, yeah. Or and if I haven't purchased them, I've bought them and I've wholesaled them. Like if they weren't good enough for me, they're
Found
great
someone.
cars that people can make money off of, but it just didn't fit our model and mold of what we do. You know, we do buy certain driver specs because we do believe that, like, even if a car is not super clean, collectible, whatever, you know, mileage wise, condition wise, that if it's just a good serviced, well sorted vehicle, then it checks a box for that person. And you know, we want to basically be able to you know, cater to every person that comes through here. But for the majority, if it's not, you know, up to our speed, we'll wholesale it. But the Riviera GT3, that's a car that Louis got offered, believe it or not, through a connection that he worked so hard to make over the years, and it came into his monkey paws, his hands. And he was grabbing it and touching it and fondling it, and he just said, "Ryan, take this before I drop it." Before, I don't know what to. It's so delicate. It's so beautiful.
It's a Fabergé
I'm
egg.
scared. I did my part. Now let me go away. And then I just made sure we locked it up, secured it, got it done, got the car in, and you know. It's crazy. It's like climbing a mountain, so to speak, to get some of these cars in. So,
Is there any car that you've
wished I'd never sold?
Well, I mean, that's the easy
That's a
question,
whole
I guess.
nother podcast,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
another
like.
podcast. But is there one that you're like your dream car to have to sell, or what? Is there one?
It's hard to say. So we started this business 7 years ago, and we've done a lot in 7 years. My dream car always was a 94 Turbo S flat bow.
Yep.
And we've recently, last year, from Ray Joseph, who is RPM Sports Cars in Texas.
Yep.
Unbelievable, incredible knowledge on Porsche. And I look up to him. Like I said to him, like he is like Michael Jordan to me in the car world. And you know, he's such a sweetheart of a guy. And if you guys look up his business, there's nobody that knew those air-cooled cars better than him in his era. And when I was like, you know, I would call him when I was 15, 16, 17, even 13 years old about the cars, and he gave me the attention. You know, I wasn't buying then.
That's cool.
And to
that
be able
makes such a big impact.
to go full circle and him to have one, and he gave me a price on the car that he knew he was giving me a deal, but it's not that he was tired of hearing from me. He was happy to be able to fulfill my dream. He was happy to be part of the process. And we flew there in person to meet him and you know, take delivery of the car and look it over. And it was just an experience that I'll never, ever... We even had a party here. We had a flak bow reveal party.
Oh, cool.
Where we pulled the cover off of it. I mean, they only made 39 of those cars.
Yeah.
That, to me, was the first Porsche that I looked at and was like, there's something different about that car.
Hand-built.
Like, why? And no one knew. You know, so I always did the background crazy in-depth searches, like when you'd go to like the 67th page of Google. I've lived...
Yeah, that's me.
I've lived in the 60s pages of Google. So like that's I remember who had those cars back in the day, and they were like $100,000, $150,000, and now I still think there's a tremendous future in them. But like out of all the cars I have personally, a Carrera GT, I have a 4.0 in black, which is very rare with 1,900 miles. My Mint America Roadster, which I love. So like the Mint car, I love because I could drive it. I drive it all. That car has been everywhere, and that car, just skipping to that really quick, is like two-wheel drive, a rear-wheel drive, wide body, air-cooled.
You had that at
convertible.
Pebble, right?
Pebble,
Yeah,
North
yeah.
Carolina. I mean,
Yeah.
you take that. I took it to North Carolina with on one of the curated rallies. I think the Invitational, whatever it was called. But everybody had their F50s, F40s, heavy metal stuff, and it was from a certain era.
Yeah.
But everyone looked at that Mint car and they were like, it was like Barbie's dream house. Like it was like it was Ken's
That's such a
car.
cool car.
But then you get on the road and the twisty turns. We didn't go to the Tail of Dragon, but it was similar roads
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that. And you know, this F40, as soon as you get into the turbos, you're braking. Now this 911, the Roadster,
Yeah, you're having more fun. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like high up on the RPMs, humming up, humming down, like, and right up their ass. And then as soon as we get to the first stop, 3 people come up. They're like, dude, I got to drive that car. And then I threw the key, because that's what that event was like.
Yeah.
Again, networking. Where do you? We were in like camp. It was camp with like 30 guys that John Samarian put together. Unbelievable event. And we thankful that I was invited to come. We all slept in bunks. Right? We're like served farm to table food, had like campfires. It was ridiculous. Roasting marshmallows. Those people I'll be friends with for life.
Right.
But like throwing keys around, whatever, driving different cars. And I think I made a lot of Ferrari people and Lambo people, like Porsche people, like they couldn't believe
Nice.
that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great car. So like back to the 94 Turbo S, no matter all the cars I drive, that's the one that if I had a sail off by myself, that's the one that I love. I don't care. People say that I don't know about it. It's not the
Yeah,
coolest.
no,
You could
it's-
drive a Carrera GT. That 94 Turbo S black has, we also have a blue one that we bought for inventory, but lucky enough to have 2 of them. But that black one was just with sports seats, the Bad Boys 3.6. That's like the, as Ray Joseph said, that's like the Bad Boys boss, that car, the flak bow. So that's the one on that. It just hits me a different way.